smartest guys around are about to break it down like they've won the game a million times.
Well, actually, they didn't really win the game at all.
Survivor know it all. Survivor know it all. Stephen without it down. Got the game all figured out. They know it all.
Do we know it all? Can you know it all? How do you know? How can
How do you
even
know when you know it all?
How can you even know? All
Yeah.
right, Rob Cesternino back here with Stephen Fishbach.
Hello.
Hi, Fishbach.
I guess I'm Felicia.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, who is Felicia?
Do
Do you think Jeff knew? Do you think that Jeff knew?
that's a good question. Is Jeff just sort of playing along?
I think he. Does he know the reference?
Here's the real question, and I have a perspective, but I want your perspective.
Yeah.
Was that all theater from Carolyn and Jam Jam?
That is what we will talk about. Well, if it was, it did not go. It went a little bit sort of like the theater for Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln in terms of how it played out for Jam Jam. You think that Jam Jam was in on the vote to take out Sarah?
No. But I mean, like, I thought that.
Oh yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk about it all
yeah.
here tonight. We've got a lot to unpack here. I thought this was the best episode of the season. I was highly entertained. I am thoroughly confused. I think we have a lot that we need to unpack here tonight here for episode number 4 of Survivor 44, week 40. As
drop the 4, keep the 44.
We need all the 4s this
fours.
week.
Okay.
All right. And that is actually 4 is 2 less than the actual number of hidden immunity idols that were in the game at one point this week, which was 6. But we will talk about all that and much more here tonight with Stephen Fishbach. Of course, I will have an exit interview with Sarah coming up on Thursday. So be on the lookout for that. And Kellen Bechtold will be my guest for the recap this week. So be on the lookout for that coming up on Thursday. And 1 week from tonight, Stephen, I will be right here in my community for our live show, the Raleigh RHAP live event. We will not be together next week. Stephen will be live with you and next week while I am with a amazing Survivor panel talking about the episode and watching it live in Raleigh. Tickets are available at robisawebsite.com/Raleigh or go to robisawebsite.com/events for all of the RHAP live show information. Tickets are available if you want to be there with us in person next Wednesday night. Stephen, okay, so much to talk through in terms of what happened. So first off, just to confirm, okay, and I'm sure that this will open the episode next week, Carolyn told Josh, play your idol for yourself tonight.
I think so. Well, first of all, I really do not think Josh was seriously going to play his idol for Carolyn. I just can't accept that any player in that situation would make a move like that. I think maybe he was offering it to build a bridge with her, but yes, I think he was serious. Really? Like, that would be so absurd to come into this position on this tribe, believe, whole cloth, this story that was being told to you, and then say, okay, well, you must be on the outs more than I am. I'm going to play my idol for you. I kind of think, I mean, he sort of hinted that he was just kind of offering it to her to build a bridge with her. But I do think that, yes.
Why would he do that? Why would he, like, if he wasn't really going to do it, why show it to her?
Well, maybe that itself is a circle of trust, right? Like, maybe we can play this for you. Maybe we play it for me. Here's an idol. Like, we're in this together. Like, right. Like, we've always talked about how showing information is a way of certainly, we'll talk about later how Matt did that with Carson on RHAP. But yes, to answer your question in a very long-winded way, Carolyn, I was definitely in on it with Josh. I think she said, play your idol for you, and together we will take out Sarah. Now, was this a good move?
That's the question. I say, and I've really tried to be thinking about this both ways, and I will say I cannot endorse this move. I think this was a very bad move from Carolyn, and I am a huge Carolyn fan. I love that she did this, and I do want to separate Carolyn, the person that's on my television, from Carolyn, the game player. And so for Carolyn, the woman that comes on my television on Wednesday nights, I adore you. Thank you so much for this. This was incredible.
Surely that is the same person playing the game.
I don't know. One of them is Felicia and one is Carolyn. Okay. But the person that made this move, who's my winner pick in the game, I do not like this move for her at all, because that even if like she felt like, okay, this is a good move. Okay. Josh has people on the other team and I'm going to, get in good with him. He actually doesn't. He's actually on the bottom of the people that he came from. And I thought this through in terms of, for Carolyn, she had this relationship with Jam Jam. Something has gone a little bit askew from her perspective, not necessarily from Jam Jam's perspective, but she's feeling like, hey, I didn't come here to get told the plan. And so rather than, work it out with Jam Jam, I think she's feeling like, okay, well, maybe if this is going to get down to some sort of like Ricard and Shan situation where we're going to potentially get down to two people here, I'm not convinced that it's not going to be Jam Jam and Sarah that survive this first part of the game. And so I said, well, maybe that is like the new era. Maybe you got to think this through about how do you position yourself to be the last two, because it doesn't seem like Jam Jam and Josh are going to be working together. So maybe, all right, get rid of Sarah, and Carolyn has assured herself to come out of this Tika tribe if it gets down to only two people. However, she could, with a hidden immunity idol in her pocket, have just voted out Josh here at this tribal council. And then if for whatever reason, Jam Jam and Sarah want to vote together the next time, then she can still play her idol.
Right. I mean, I think you don't want to count on playing her. And I'm with you. I don't think this was
that's her ultimate insurance policy.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Especially because Jam Jam has been her guy, and this creates distrust between them because she went behind his back, and that's going to fundamentally, erode the trust that they have. Now, the fact that she's always the decoy boot, I think that is really bad from Jam Jam's perspective, and I get it from, and
hey,
for her
been to two tribal councils.
Well, okay, fair. But, to be told, okay, you're going to be the decoy boot, we're going to say your name. That's scary. I mean, I think that's really careless of Jam Jam to take someone who he needs and just kind of say, it's going to be you. You're the person we're going to say, and not really paper it over. We don't, obviously we only see a fraction of what happened. We don't know how he tried to pitch it, but from our perspective, and certainly from Carolyn's perspective, it was just being told, okay, you're the decoy boot. Yeah. If things go wrong, you're going home, whatever. Right.
Again,
like if Josh has an idol,
4-person tribe,
you're going home. What?
Only a 4-person tribe.
Well, right. Not a lot of people, but like, still not a lot of people for it to be, but whoever it is going to be mad about it, and it's fair for that person to be mad about it. So to your point, I do think that it's not totally wild to put yourself in the middle where, like you're saying, she keeps Josh on her side. Jam Jam and Josh are not going to work together. Now, Carolyn is she's definitely got more leverage. I also don't think it's, she doesn't know that Josh is on the bottom of his tribe. And also, Josh is only on the bottom of his tribe while they're a tribe, right? When they come back, when they all come to emerge together, then he's got relationships, right? He's got people to connect with. And I think when you are in this position of being the smallest group left, right, with this, a lot of times you're thinking, we need inroads. We are going to need to build relationships with other people, come merge, and having someone here who can help us build those relationships, it's not a terrible idea. Now, again, like leaving Jam Jam totally out of it, could she not have said, hey, Josh is an idol. He's playing it for himself. It looks like the vote is Sarah. We want you with us on this.
That's not Carolyn, though. This is what is troubling about Carolyn and her prospects moving forward in the game, that I feel like that she is very much like, I would say at best, maybe impulsive and potentially erratic, to put it mildly. And this was not, I do not believe, to be like a thought out move in terms of like what's going to happen next. I think you could have found a way to have your cake and eat it too, for whatever reason, if there is like any sort of like animosity. And we only heard Carolyn talk about she has problems with Jam Jam. Ultimately, it was Sarah who had to pay the price here. It was never talked about that Jam Jam was going to be the target of the vote. And so for Carolyn, like if she wanted to engineer a way for Sarah to go home, I mean, there was ways that she either could have like told, she could have put a vote on Josh if it was like, hey, like play your idol tonight. I have to I'm gonna pretend to vote with it. I think that there are ways that she could have engineered this more smoothly. But now, like, I feel like that there is going to be major fallout with Jam Jam. Jam Jam does not seem like the kind of person who is going to take this lightly.
Right. And I mean, I do think, right, they've been together since, the beginning. And there's think there's an element where maybe it will stabilize their relationship a little bit, where if Jam Jam is always kind of treating her like his sidekick or like the person who he can dump on, who he can just say, okay, you're going to be the decoy boot. That's the way it is. And like not getting her perspective, not taking her input, at some point she does need to even the playing field. She does need to push back a little bit. I mean, it's a very difficult situation, as I can attest, to be the number 2 in the 2-person alliance, because what is your end game? What are you're thinking? Like, I'm always going to be the other guy. I'm always going to be the number. Like if my goal is to make it to the end with these people, if my goal is to sit at the final tribal with Jam Jam and I'm always his sidekick, like, what's my position in this game? What's my place in this game?
That not for me to debate you on, the perception of you and JT, but like, I feel like that you and JT, it was not like that JT came to you and said like, all right, Stephen, here's the plan today. And you just had to go along with it. Like, I feel like if anything, that maybe other people might have had a perception of it being like lopsided in terms of like who was calling the shots or who was the important partner. But in your actual partnership with JT, did you find it to be that it was one-sided?
No, but I mean, honestly, no, but I mean, but more, that was honestly more the case a little bit for me in Cambodia. And we don't need to make this into about my various alliances, but
why not?
Fair. Yeah. I would often feel in Cambodia, like, hey, like I really had a strong strategic desire, and it was, people would not always go along with it.
Right.
And sometimes they would, right. Of course. And you did try to make your case as best as you could, but if you don't feel like you have as active a voice in the group, you have to find ways to create new situations that give you a more active voice. And that's bad for everybody. So, was that convoluted? Was that convoluted? Or was that clear?
No, I think that's fair. And I certainly, remember, how frustrated you were when you wanted to vote out Joe and people were like, no, it's not, don't worry
Savage.
about that.
I mean, like anybody, and even if like not, you don't have to assume that everyone is always going to go along with your plan, but you want to feel like, it's not just being dismissed out of hand, right? You want to feel, and that's where I felt a lot of empathy for Carolyn, where she is just told what to do. And then, she doesn't get to feel like she's a part of the decision-making process. Yeah. And so in many ways I feel, blame Carolyn, but I think this is Jam Jam's fault a lot too.
I think Carolyn ultimately made a bad move. I think that for Carolyn, I think that they're better off. And I think that this group is going to potentially go to another tribal council before the pre-merge is over. And I do think that for Carolyn, I think that she might have had, if she doesn't trust Sarah, I think that there would have been an opportunity to take out Sarah still, and her and Jam Jam could come out together as a pair, and maybe they still will after this pre-merge. But I also think that there is blame to lay with Jam Jam as well, because that, as we have seen before, in Survivor, if you are going to, do some sort of like elaborate play with another person, that you need to make sure that that person is going to be able to, is up for that type of chicanery. And it seemed like that for Jam Jam, he was putting on this act of, okay, Carolyn and I are in a fight. But I feel like that for Carolyn,
it was real.
She didn't really know. Yeah. Carolyn had real animosity towards, and going back to your friend John, aka Cochran from Survivor South Pacific, where it was like, oh, we're all mad at Cochran. So Cochran, you go, like, our plan is, and they really had animosity towards him.
Right.
But our plan is going to be, you go talk to Coach, and you go tell Coach that you're flipping to his side, and then you get all the information and bring it back to us. And a lot of times, the person that you hire to play the spy ultimately can flip sides.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such an interesting dynamic. The one thing I want to talk about or the one other thing is, why not make Sarah the decoy boot? If you're Jam Jam, right, and Carolyn is your number one, why not make Sarah the decoy, where there is a chance Josh has an idol? We obviously have seen Josh has an idol. We know there's a very good chance he has an idol, but this twist of, all this tribe mix up, you have to think, like, it's so obvious. I mean, I don't know, like, again, like, knowing what we know, it's easy to say, well, it's so obvious they would do it this way, but you have to at least consider the possibility that they just were on this trek. They've got some kind of superpower. So there is a chance that Josh has an idol. He's certainly going to play it. Why would you want your best ally, if you're Jam Jam, to go home? Why not make Sarah the decoy boot?
It's a good question. I think that maybe for Jam Jam, and it's impossible to know without asking, but perhaps he felt like, okay, well, it makes more sense that Carolyn would be the target. Carolyn comes across as more of an erratic player, and she is the kind of person that, obviously you've seen that she hasn't done as well in the challenges. She's the next person who would be going home, and that's why, we need you. We're so glad you're here. And Sarah seems like a little bit more polished as a player, and maybe that's why. Again, this is just me completely presuming what the reasons would be to say Carolyn was the target as opposed to Sarah.
Yeah, I mean, you can always make up a reason why it's going to be somebody else. I mean, it would just be so easy to say, Carolyn and I are tight. Sarah was with Helen. We want her gone next. Like, come with us. It would just be so straightforward.
Yeah.
Why put your bestie on the line like that? I just think it's not, and especially with Carolyn being slightly more erratic. You know that she's going to react badly to that. If Sarah is indeed more level-headed. Here's a question for you. I have about Sarah. Is Sarah going to be more upset that she was voted out with an idol, or when she learns that her idol was not an idol?
No, I think she's relieved when she finds out that she has a fake idol, because I think that she's probably like would have been beating herself up of like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. I didn't play my idol. Oh, I got voted out with an idol in my pocket. It's like, hey, actually, your idol was fake. Like, okay, thank God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so relieved. But nobody gets off easy tonight, Steve.
No.
Because Sarah also, terrible job not playing your idol here at the, like, all right.
When Josh plays his idol.
Plays his idol.
Yeah.
She even said, if anything happens, he plays his idol. She's like, I didn't think that they were voting for me. Like, it's a 1 in 3 chance, Sarah.
Yeah.
You got to play the idol in that spot.
I guess I think people get, you get some power, and you think you just start planning too far ahead. You lose sight of the moment. You just like start to like think out, and it's really destructive. That's always like the biggest danger of any of these advantages, is that you just start to speculate too far ahead.
The only person in this tribe who played well was Josh.
Well, he played great.
He played great. He did.
I mean, he immediately, like, you got to like give credit to Josh here. He immediately, he went along with Jam Jam and Sarah, like went along with their plan. Immediately went and told Carolyn what their plan was. She was in on it, but still, his honesty with her created a bond that ended up having them vote together, and now he has an ally on that tribe.
Yeah, and look, maybe I will be dead wrong about this, and maybe Josh and Carolyn are gonna be the alliance that dominates the rest of the season. Maybe I'm wrong about this. I just feel like that this was the wrong way for Carolyn to go. I think she had more options to stick with Jam and Sarah to potentially reunite with Carson, and who knows how he's going to react to all of this. Like, was he tighter with Carolyn or tighter with Jam? We just don't know. Also, like, look, Carolyn can do amazing things. Maybe she's able to, smooth things over next week, and this is just a blip in her game. But I do feel like that this was the wrong way to go.
Rob, I have a question for you.
Please.
So you're cast on another season of Survivor.
Okay.
People say, Rob, you're Rob, the podcaster, right? You're a great podcaster. I know all about you. You podcast all about Survivor.
No, I'm personal trainer.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Personal trainer. Yeah. I'm a bodcaster. Tell everybody like what to do.
Yeah. That's good. That's
have a steady voice.
Well, that was such an interesting moment because they specifically said, "Are you a surgeon?" It wasn't like, "Are you a pianist?" It was like, "Are you a surgeon?"
Well, so this was like, I guess, sort of like a quiz show of that. They overheard him say, "Hey, in my profession, I have to have a steady hand." So
that's what I'm saying. Like, it could have been anything. They went straight to surgeon.
Well, what other profession would you say I have to have a steady hand?
Bomb squad.
Bomb squad?
Yeah, you have the wires. You don't want to
he disarms bombs.
I mean, on Survivor, it could be anything.
You would leap to that before surgeon.
Juggler.
Juggler, I think, is unsteady hand. You gotta have the flexible hands. Your hands are going everywhere. What other profession? Calligrapher, I guess so.
Yeah, hands
are moving. I don't know. But I do think that, like, name a profession with a steady hand and 100 people serve it. I do think surgeon's going to be the number one.
Yeah. It was, but just not a great lie. Not a great lie at the point where people are guessing your profession, it's going to be hard. But I guess if he's told other people that he's a trainer.
Yeah. I mean,
this is why you don't lie.
Not to disparage the injury or the profession. I mean, Yid Voce a couple seasons ago was a brain surgeon.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, surgeons very good. Yeah, but
everyone uses their feet. Not everybody uses their brain. If that's not true. Not everyone uses their feet, but
yeah. Okay. Stephen, so all right, that tribe is very interesting in terms of what's going on there. Just while we're talking about Tika, how about Carolyn and the saga of the Red X?
Another very fun moment where, although sort of weird, and this is what I want to talk to you about. So she creates a red X in the birdcage, sends everyone into a flurry, and they're all, "Where's the red X?" Sarah ends up finding the red X and thinking she has an idol. Very fun sequence.
Yes.
Why would they think that? Do they think like production got bored with like them not opening the birdcage? Like, here's another way to get the idol.
I don't know what they thought, but it's just been so interesting. Of like, hey, I've got a fake idol, got to get somebody else thinking that they have the fake idol. And for Carolyn, she didn't even know who had it. Yeah. Like, what's even the point? Why are we doing this?
Just idols, fake idols for fake idols.
Just to mess with people. Yeah.
It's more chaos.
Yeah. Okay. Stephen, we have not spoken yet about how Sarah, even though in a most unconventional way, was the latest player to be voted out of the game, she does become the fourth young woman voted out of the season in 4 episodes.
Yes.
I do feel like this one was much more fluky than the first 3.
Well, the first one was with Brandon playing his idol and Maddie going home. I mean, this one, at least this time she had, majority, half the votes at least.
Yeah, I'll say that was the second most fluky. That I do feel like that there was a lot of talk about Jamie, and that there was, people did want one of the women to go home in that Ratu tribe, but here tonight, like, for all intents and purposes, like, it should have been Josh potentially, if everything went according to plan.
Well, I mean, again, like, it was a split vote, even in that situation, it still would be a tied vote. The plan was 2 people voting for Josh and 2 people voting for Sarah.
I'm curious to know just how much outrage there will be, and I do not need to be tagged personally with said outrage, but I am interested to see just how upset people are. I know after last week, especially when it was so much of it was about because Claire and her challenge performance, where Sarah was a good challenge performer. It's that I am interested to see just how upset people are as more of the same.
Yeah. It's at this point it's definitely a notable trend. And I think, you have to sort of say, even if you can rationalize why every single one, every single vote had its own peculiarities, when they're all part of the exact same, all 4 young women within 3 years of each other in terms of age, right? I guess Claire is 25 and Helen was 29, so 4 years of each other. That seems meaningful.
Okay. Yeah. Stephen, let's talk about the twist tonight. Okay, go on the journey, come back, and you get a tribe swap. First tribe swap here in any way, shape, or form of the new era. How did this feel for you?
It was fun. I was like, I liked it. Let's try it out. You go, it's not always a great thing to go on these journeys, and I think that has to, that adds an element of danger, I mean, in terms of it being a dangerous game, this is much more, it's a dangerous game than you go and you potentially you play a lottery game and, turn a ship wheel. That's not dangerous. You go on this journey and suddenly you're on a different tribe. That's really interesting and that's dangerous and creates a lot of, I think, challenges for all the players. So this to me was a very fun twist.
Okay.
The idol part of it,
an idol for each person, an idol,
idols, but also how do you do this without the idol? The problem we've talked in the past about how do you just do a random switch like this? The person's obviously going to be voted out first. They have to have some level of immunity. We've talked also about giving them a single use idol for just the immune at their first tribal council, but that doesn't create room for error. So if it's a multi-use idol, it's actually in some ways worse than a single-use idol because they can screw it up. They can hold on to it for a second tribal council and get voted out.
It seemed to me a little OP to send each player into the other tribe with an idol. That could a compromise be an extra vote for each person who is switching over?
Or what about they're just immune? They're immune for the first tribal. Then there's no ambiguity. I mean, the extra vote, but again, the extra vote, it's going to be maybe you're right. I mean, yeah. So you think the idol is just too strong?
I feel like it was a little overpowered, especially considering that at the point that these 3 players get idols, we have 6 idols in the game and 4 fake ones at that point. 6 idols, Stephen. We have gone past the record of. I don't know what the previous record was for most idols in the game at one time, but I think it was probably maybe 3 or 4. I don't even think we ever hit 5. Well, now we have 5.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. I mean, the abstract quality of I don't know what to say. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. Fun. Yeah. So you think a better solution would be just have an extra vote?
Yeah, I'm trying that on. I'm trying that on. I feel like it would have been. I mean, it certainly would have been the same for Josh tonight. That he was able to he had to get one person, and then ultimately he was able to get Carolyn.
Here's a question I had for you. Why have them split up? Because on the journey, they all go on different paths. There's no way you can't guarantee if they all go on different paths that they're all going to be.
I don't know how they
tribes.
did that. I think there had to have been some shenanigans there. Because what if they pulled their own buff out of the bag?
Right. Well, and even if they got rid of that buff, it very well could happen.
What if two people picked the same buff? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I think that there had to have been, okay, you go here, you go here, you go here.
Exactly.
Or it's okay, just pull a thing out of the bag, give it to the producer, and then we'll take it to your new camp. I think that must have been how they did it, because I think there's no way that they would have had it work out perfectly like that. All right, well, let's talk about some of these other folks that we saw arrive at their other camp. I think probably the more interesting one might have been Carson going to Ratu, because we saw where Matthew feels like, oh, I've wasted all this time working on Jamie. I need to go to work right away with Carson.
Yeah, and that was a very fun moment where he uses the fake idol that he gave for Jamie as a way of building a relationship with Carson. And again, like, this is what's so great about, how thoughtful he was about that fake idol, because obviously you can make up anything. You can make up any lie, but it's so much better when everyone else believes the lie and there's some sort of verifiability to your lie. And Jamie believes she has an idol. So for Matthew to be able to say this to Carson, and for Carson, to know that, like, if for whatever reason Carson confronts Jamie about it, that there is a paper trail, it's so strong. It's such a smart, strong way for him to play it. And it was just like such a thoughtful, strategic move, I thought.
If I may, it did seem like it worked with Carson. I don't think that we got any confessional though from him saying like, what is this we got? But the way that Matthew was so intentional about it, that he sat Carson down and said, okay, and now I'm going to tell you a piece of personal information so that I will gain trust from you. You're saying the quiet part out loud, Matthew.
And you don't need to
say that you don't need to go on a date. And it's like, I'm going to reveal some personal details about my past. So you drop your guard a little bit and feel like you know me better because I'm going to tell you some information now. You could just do the thing.
Yeah. That's very funny. I mean, you said that last week too, about how with him, he really is very so deliberate that it becomes, almost mechanical. And as with him sharing, to Jeff, like, oh, I practiced this at home. Like he really feels the need to narrate how much he knows.
Get together and talk about all the challenges they're practicing at home.
Yeah.
Carson and Matthew.
But Carson's been, playing close to the vest. So it's true. He really, it may have been coming on a little bit too strong.
Yeah. But we didn't hear anything from Carson to say that he had any sort of weird feelings about the whole situation. Meanwhile, Jamie goes to Soka. Now, first off, we found out that, at least from what Danny and Heidi were telling Matt and Franny, they want to work together, the two pairs, that Josh is on the outs potentially. But now here comes Jamie. Now, again, there is a possibility that Heidi and Danny are selling Matt and Franny a bill of goods in that conversation. I don't know if we necessarily, I'm not 100% sure we saw a confessional from Heidi and Danny saying that Josh is at the bottom and he's going to be the next person to go. We did see Franny say that, oh, well, now Josh is gone. And now the person that we wanted to get rid of is gone. And now here's Jamie. It's so hilarious that Jamie has two idols, Stephen. A real one and a fake one.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a possibility that Jamie goes and plays that the votes are coming for her? She goes and plays the hidden immunity idol. How does Jeff determine whether she has given the real hidden immunity idol or the fake hidden immunity idol?
Well, they don't look exactly alike, right? I mean, and plus they don't know.
Yeah. But it's like, okay, Jeff, if she gives you beads, that's fake. If she gives you the coin, that's real.
He's got Matt Van Wagenen in his ear, just like
Yeah, I don't know what her real idol look like.
Yeah. She'll definitely play the real one because that's the one that expires. I had a moment of thinking,
you would hope so. You would hope so, but it's like, oh, well, Matthew knows about this one, so maybe I should burn it. And this is one nobody knows I have.
I don't know. I don't think anyone would be that silly. Like that would be just ridiculous.
What a way to go. What a way to go for Jamie. Truly. Who's a very fun character also. I think she's been overshadowed by Carolyn and all of her screen time, but she is a very fun personality.
Oh my gosh, she's like life. She's like the person, when Jeff used to be like, life is an adventure. Say yes to adventure. That's Jamie. She's saying yes to adventure at every step along the way.
Yeah. So do you think that if Soka goes to a tribal council, that Jamie is going to be the person who's going to go home, and could she potentially have to play her idol?
Yeah. And then who would it be?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Whoever she writes down.
I guess that's right. Yeah. very fun. I really like this group. It's a very fun group. Soka, I think, is my rooting interest personally. I know a lot of
they
people
are very
Tika
fun. Boy, Danny is, a ball of energy, and
that man loves to somersault.
He loves to somersault. That he is tumbling over across the cargo net. He's tumbling into the water. Jeff graded his dive an 11. How about that?
Yeah,
Stephen, were you excited to see the return of the slingshot challenge?
I would be getting tweets. Always excited to see the return of the slingshot challenge. It's a great challenge. Yeah.
I can't remember. Did you ever talk about the mechanism for the slingshot challenge? Is there a PA standing behind each one of the things raising the flag, or is it like some mechanism that a flag comes up?
I know. I think it's a mechanism. I mean, I certainly didn't. I mean, if they were a PA, they were like hiding. I mean, I didn't see them. They were like dressed all in purple, standing very still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Stephen, anything else from our three tribes that you want to highlight tonight before we start to get into some questions?
I mean, that was really those were the big things, right? What did we miss anything? No, that was it. That was it. Let's do some questions.
How many more votes do you think we have before we get to Mergatory?
So how many people are left in the
last season? It was 5 episodes, and then we had Mergatory in episode number 6.
That makes sense. I mean, it's 13 now. You lose one more person, and then you have the double, the 6v6 for to make the merge. I think that works.
Okay. So we'll see. Maybe next week could be the final round in which those idols are in play, and maybe we'll see what happens. But Tika down to just 3 people with Jam, Josh, and Carolyn.
And every indication that they're going to go to tribal council again.
Yeah. Well, how do you think another tribal council plays out? Jam, Carolyn,
I think they
Josh.
get rid of Josh. I think Jam and Carolyn work through their differences. I think they're soulmates, and I think that's gonna.
I hope they do. They're so fun, and I'd hate to lose either of them. So maybe they can work past this. Even though I did not like the call this week.
Hey, now that Josh is on Tika, he really is Purple Josh.
Now he is. He is. Okay. Stephen, let's take some questions from our listeners here tonight. Okay. Tommy Guam wants to know, will they reintroduce the inheritance advantage, and why didn't someone inherit it?
Wow. That's a really great point. We didn't even touch on
if she could have stayed in the game, she could have gotten the idol.
Wow. Sarah should.
Now I have 2 idols.
Yeah. So sad to see the inheritance advantage go.
Will it come back?
Yeah, probably. I think so. I think they come up with a fun advantage idea. I think someone else is getting that thing.
Yeah. It has not happened many times that a specific advantage has come back in the same season. The only times that I can remember are that I believe it happened with tomorrow's recap guest. Kellen had an extra vote, which came back a second time in Ghost Island. And then also we had Knowledge is Power come back after it got somebody got voted out with it in Geo got voted out with it in Survivor 43. So it'll be interesting to see if it comes back. I do think that also Sarah becomes the first person to be voted out of the game with a fake idol that they believe to be a real idol.
Huh. Okay. Voted out. Because I know Joe was medevac with a fake idol that he believed to be a real idol. I guess the voted out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Was that in the show? Was that canon?
Yeah, I thought his fake idol. Didn't his fake idol make the show? I think it did.
I don't remember. I don't remember. Okay.
Joe Daddle, obviously.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Survivor Joe Daddle.
The one and only.
The first person you think it was here, Joe from Survivor.
Yes. Okay. All right. All right. Stephen, how about this question from Andy?
All right. Andy wants to know, question, if Tribal came to a stalemate, who do you suppose would have won the argument between Jam and Carolyn, or would they have gone to Rocks? That's a great question.
So
it's very
hypothetically, fun. Josh doesn't play his idol.
Right.
Okay. So now we have where, Sarah and Josh are immune, and Jam and Carolyn need to work it out. What do you think would happen?
Wait, Jam and Carolyn Oh, Sarah and Josh are immune. Wait, because she's saying, and so it's either Jam Jam or Carolyn.
Yeah, remember in season 42 where it was either Jam Jam or Carolyn would need to flip, or they would like have to take a rock.
Yeah. I think Jam Jam is going to flip in that case. I think he's going to placate Carolyn. You don't think so?
I think the Jam Jam could I think it would all come out and Jam Jam be like, no, like I didn't mean it like that. Especially like the Felicia stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like Jam Jam, I do think was really like ratcheting it up and really pouring it on. And I think that Carolyn was like, oh, he's being serious. Like that he's like, I don't know. Either here's what I don't know, Stephen. Okay. Either Carolyn is not a good actress, or Carolyn is an amazing actress.
Yeah. I
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. The Jam Jam was good, but maybe a little bit.
He was maybe too good.
Too much. Yeah, too much.
He's a method actor.
Yeah.
So
that's a fun question, though.
It's going to be interesting because I think we're really going to get to see a lot in next week's episode about what's going on. Okay. Andrea says, what do you think about Carolyn and not telling Jam Jam about Josh's idol?
This I think this is a mistake. I think Carolyn broke a lot of trust with Jam Jam. Now, Jam Jam wasn't handling Carolyn great either, but I do think it was a mistake for Carolyn not to.
Yeah, because I think that we could have seen where, if Carolyn wanted to do this and right before Tribal, she brings Jam Jam. Come here. I got to tell you something. Look, I know you have this whole plan. Change your plans. Okay. Josh told me he has an idol. He's playing it tonight. We gotta, we gotta switch the votes. We gotta flip the script. It's Sarah. And like, what's Jam Jam gonna say?
Yeah.
He's playing tonight. He's got an idol. He's playing it. What are we gonna do?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's just like, say it. Just share with him. Bring your allies in on these things, and then they'll appreciate you.
Okay. Yeah. All right. How about a question about what about from Kyle?
All right, Kyle wants to know, is Jamie set up the best in the game, surprisingly?
I would not think so.
No, she's on a tribe of people who are not her allies.
Going to vote for her. Yeah. Who do you think is in the best position game-wise, Stephen?
Oh, that's a fun question.
If you had to like jump in and play as any player active in the game, who would it be?
Well, I like Matthew's spot. I do like Matthew's spot. I mean, I like Matt's spot. Heidi's spot is pretty good. I think Heidi's got a good spot. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that Danny probably has the most going on, that he's leading his tribe, feeling good, does have an idol, knows where a hidden immunity idol is. Matthew does have all of those things, but also has the injury.
But the injury's good. Injury's going to help him long term, right? Nobody's going to be worried about him.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think either of those guys would be a good answer to that question.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is from Lisa. If Sarah played her advantage thing and Josh plays the idol, she gets the idol and she's safe and Josh goes home. Is that how? No, that is not how it would have worked. If she survived that tribal council, she would get the immunity idol in her bag tomorrow. The question is, does she get the note that says this idol expires when you get to the merge?
Yeah. That's very funny.
You get all the notes also for the stuff.
You need the paperwork.
You get the paperwork.
You need the
warranty. Then you can make more fake idols.
Yeah, you need the receipts. Yeah, the idols are useless without the accompanying paperwork.
Yeah. Okay.
Not clear.
All right. How about Little H has a question.
All right, Little H. Oh, go ahead.
No, is an advantage getting going to happen with fake idols where everybody, people no one will be safe with all these fakes? I mean, we did kind of have that with your friend and mine, Rick Devins, in The Edge of Extinction, where 2 fake idols were played at one tribal council.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's very fun. Yes, that would be very fun. And I do think, as a lot of people have said, this is probably where they're going with all these idols, just kind of almost like depowering them by making them like so common and then so fake that it's like, oh, another idol.
Idolflation.
Yeah, exactly. Idolflation.
Where's the Fed?
Yeah, we need it. Yeah. So that would be fun.
Okay. All right. Because I do think that the rule is that, savvy Survivor players are like, hey, an idol comes out. I got to take all everybody sort of like dumps their pockets.
Yeah.
And then it really could come out like, okay, well, hold on. Well, who knew I had a fake idol? Who planted this fake idol? So there could be a lot of questions that get asked. Okay.
Would you go through someone's bag? I don't have a problem with it. They made it like such a big, like, oh my God, we're going to go through someone's bag. Go through someone's bag.
I feel like that people go through the bag and they never find the thing. I guess last season they found the note in Gabler's bag.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Steve, what about this question from Ryan Irwin Comedy?
Ryan Irwin says, should Carson tell Brandon, Kane, and Lauren about Jamie and Matthew finding the idol? He could exchange the one ally, Matthew, for 3 others and target Matthew next.
Should he betray Matthew?
Wow, that's very fun. That's a very fun idea.
That's a bad move, right?
I think so, because they may not believe you. It gets back to Matthew probably. You've got someone who's like basically trying to create a bond with you versus 3 people who aren't. I think like the people who actually want them to play with you are the people you should try to play with, not the people who don't particularly care about it.
Yeah. If that group went to tribal council, because it really did look like once Lauren, she jumped and didn't get the key. And then ultimately it was a big comeback for Lauren and Carson in terms of putting the puzzle together. Who do you think would have gone home from that tribe?
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, we're assuming Carson plays his idol. I mean, they probably would have stacked votes on Carson. Carson plays his idol, votes out. Who's he voting out? I have no idea.
I don't know. I kind of thought that maybe we were going to get Kane getting voted out.
I can see it.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that maybe we might get one more tribal council before Mergatory. Maybe it's Josh, and then we get to Mergatory.
Yeah. Kane would actually be a good person from that tribe because we know that Matthew and Brandon are tight. Brandon's a little bit suspicious of Kane. So Kane would be a good guest from that tribe.
Okay. All right. Kayla wants to know, after the first tribe goes to tribal council, after the one person swap, will it get out that all the people that went on the trip all have an idol? Well, here's what I was really suspecting we were going to see. We remember back in the first episode where Claire had the conversation with Matthew on the mat. This immunity challenge, who sat out of the challenge? It was Matthew and Jamie. And I really thought we were going to see like, hey, guess what? Like, I have an idol. Like Carson's going to have one too. Like,
totally.
Yeah. I thought that
would have made,
Claire incepted Matthew with this, hey, talk to the other people. And I really thought we were going to see that again.
I couldn't believe they didn't do it. I mean, maybe they did. Like everyone run. I was watching for that too, because everyone runs past them. They're on the benches, like way at the start of the challenge. Why not?
Yeah. And maybe it did happen. And maybe it's the kind of thing that we see in a flashback next week. It's like,
or they could have been told not to, they could have been yelled at.
Why? It's good TV.
Yeah.
Always do stuff that's good TV.
Yeah. I don't know.
Never yell at them for doing stuff that's good TV.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, truly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see if there's anything else that we haven't talked about. No, I think that we pretty much hit everything else from the rest of the questions. Stephen, who do you give a fishy to tonight?
I don't know. I mean, you don't really want to give it to Carolyn because it wasn't a great move. I mean, Josh, but didn't play it so great, where it did look like, maybe Carolyn saved him. I mean, maybe Matthew. What do you think? Give me.
No, I can't give it to Matthew. I mean, I think I'd probably give it to Josh.
Yeah.
I mean, he played an idol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's give it to Josh.
Give it to Josh.
Okay.
And then and maybe it remains to be seen. Maybe we're gonna find out like actually that this was a master stroke on Carolyn's part, but just based off of what we got in those 42 minutes. And I'm interested to know like what the rest of the discourse is from all the other podcasters and social media. But I feel like this was not the right call to make.
Yeah, I
don't think it's unmitigated. I'm flexible.
Yeah, I think there is a lot to be said for putting herself in the middle of this group of 3, where she felt very disposable, obviously, and now suddenly she's at the center. They keep on losing. You have no idea how long it's going to last. I don't think it's as bad as you do. I think that there is a lot to be said for the move.
Okay. We'll see. I was thinking about this before we came on. Everybody that's like, hey, look, like, yeah, we could work with Helen, and that's like the logical, serious side. But, I want to embrace my chaotic, fun side. We're working with Carolyn.
Yeah.
Got a little too chaotic and fun.
Yeah. That's
all right. Let me tell you a little bit about what else is going on here in the world of Rob as a Podcast. Tomorrow, I'll be live with the patrons at 1 p.m. Eastern, taking calls on our patron happy hour. Just one of the benefits that you get when you become a patron of Rob Has a Podcast. Come and be a part of the greatest reality TV community in the world. Get access to all of the great international reality TV shows going on right now, and much more at robhasawebsite.com/patron. Okay. All right. So that's going to be Monday. And then, of course, lots of more stuff coming your way. Can't wait to hear what the other podcasts have to say about that. Jenny Autumn will join me on the Survivor Feedback Show coming up on Monday, in addition to the exit interview and podcast with Kellen, plus everything in our RHAP Ups feed. We've got the best coverage top to bottom. You can hear it all at robhasawebsite.com/survivor feed.
Okay.
Stephen, I have started a brand new series as well, where I'm doing a deep dive into one specific Survivor question a week. And this past week, I took a good long look at fake idols and whether or not they serve a very useful purpose to survivors from a strategic perspective, or if they are just a vehicle for good TV. That is up as a podcast and up on our YouTube channel. And I did come to, I thought, some interesting conclusions in terms of fake idols and how they are best to be used by the players.
Oh, how exciting. I would, I would like you to tell me, but I guess that would sort of, spoil the podcast.
Well, do you have feelings about the utility of the fake idol?
I mean, I've got a lot of feelings about it. No great thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. So it's also, what's interesting is that this season is Survivor 44. It's been 30 seasons since the fake hidden immunity idol really came to prominence by Yowman in Survivor Fiji.
The anniversary.
Yeah. So this season is a bit of a celebration of the fake hidden immunity idol.
Yeah.
Over on the Purple Pants podcast this week, Bryce and Wendell, they recently went up to Toronto for the Survivor premiere. They were a part of a big panel discussion about race and representation on reality TV. A lot of reality stars were there with them from Big Brother and Big Brother Canada as well. And so you can hear that conversation on the Purple Pants podcast this week, in addition to Bryce and Wendell and Jack Atkins talking about the Survivor news every single week on the Purple Pants podcast.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then over on Survivor Australia, it's winding down on Australian Survivor. One of the great people you could talk about Survivor with, Adam Klein, joined Shannon Gus this week to talk about everything that's going on. Really fun conversation as they broke down everything heading into the final four on Australian Survivor. So really good podcast with Adam. I myself got to check in with Shannon Gus this morning as Dr. Evie Jagoda joined us for our weekly check-in. So lots of great stuff as Australian Survivor, Stephen, finales next week.
As it maintains, I mean, every people are talking about this as like one of the great seasons of Survivor.
Yes, just a little bit of a tease for the podcast, the check-in I did with Shannon and Evie. Evie said it is a top 5 all-time season of Survivor Heroes versus Villains.
Wow. What are the other 4?
Australian.
Yeah.
I mean, they would have to tell you their exact top 5 rankings, but yeah, I don't think I could disagree. I think it's a good take.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a lot of Big Brother, or it's a lot of Survivor, but it's worth it. All right. Of course, right after we get off tonight, we will have our Big Brother Canada recap. Taryn is going to be live, I believe, at 10:30 Eastern time to go over tonight's Big Brother Canada. So, Stephen, put the coffee on and stay up late to find out who won the veto. Why not? And of course, make sure you're subscribed to Rob as a Podcast, robhasawebsite.com/subscribe for everything that I'm doing, everything we have going on in our RHAP Ups feed, and much more on Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, all for free at RHAPisawebsite.com/subscribe. All right. Stephen, anything fun coming up for you this week?
I do want to do a little shout out. I have had very bad insomnia recently. I have in the past too, but I was tweeting about, hey, like what do people do to help with their insomnia? And PG as well as a couple other people said there's this podcast called Sleep With Me. Now,
yes, I'm very familiar. Scooter,
Scooter, yeah. So do you listen to Sleep With Me?
I have that. He is also a fan of the podcast.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I started listening to this podcast and it works. It works. I mean, he like tells sort of boring, rambly stories.
It's intentionally boring. Yeah.
Maybe he got the idea from you. Like, what about a podcast so boring that it puts you to sleep?
Maybe. I believe there's an episode where he talks about Rob as a podcast.
Oh my, well, that's what PG was saying. You should talk about Survivor. I'm like, please don't talk about Survivor. I'll have nightmares instead of, blissful sleep. But I was always very skeptical of a podcast as a sleep aid, but it works. And I'm like lying there thinking there's no way this is going to work. And then, 6 hours later.
Yeah, he does a really good job. So shout out to Scooter. Not sure if he's still keeping up with Survivor.
He said that he said that he watches the know-it-alls.
Okay.
I mean, not on the I became a patron, but not to promote another podcast on your podcast, but it's a great podcast. It's
Feel free. He's a good guy. So if anybody is having trouble sleeping, definitely recommend the Sleep With Me podcast. Okay.
Yeah, it's really great.
All right, Stephen. So nice to be back together with you. Next week, we will be apart.
Yeah.
But then we'll be back together,
potentially
all through
for
April.
the merge or the mergatory. Yeah.
All right. Maybe 1 week apart. And you basically, it's like you're like Carson and you're like going off to the other tribe. Or am I? I guess I'm going to the other team.
Yeah, that's right. I'm staying here. So I'm
I will see you at the merge, maybe.
Am I Jam or Carolyn in this scenario?
I don't know. I feel like I'm more the Carolyn than the Jam.
I would be more the Carson. I feel like, just the glasses.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us for Survivor Know-It-Alls. Got a lot coming up on Thursday. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.